Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode 157 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the guy on your other screen that way now, or in your other ear if you're listening to the podcast. It's Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, Brendan. How are you going this evening? It's the perfect start to the show. It's been great.
Absolutely. What do you think of our new surrounds?
I love it. I think it's very special.
A lot of work went into this.
I don't know if it's going to work or we know what we're doing, but we're not sure it's recording, so we might be talking this for no reason.
Massive news.
Massive
new
news.
Logo. Logo down in the corner
the
there.
Bottom. Who designed that?
No idea. AI, I think, but and it's kind of the finished product, but it's anyway.
Looks good.
I thought we'd have a little bit of a freshen up. Why not? New coat of paint. Hey, you got to do that every now and then.
New logo, new platform to record on. Fancy names down the bottom here, which look a bit nicer.
They do look a little better. Yes, that's true.
Are we turning pro?
No, hardly, and I would never be accused of turning pro. But you know, I do have new toys to play with, like putting website addresses on and stuff like that.
Flashing on the screen. What's going on?
It's pretty crazy, I know, right?
So let's just get this straight, though. You're actually directing this as we're doing this.
It's called live editing, I guess, editing on the fly. Yes, so
that makes me very nervous.
mate, this could all just go completely to pot, and it may very well do. This may not even see the light of day. This episode, this could be just the guinea pig run that we don't even air.
The first intro wasn't seeing the light of day, was it?
No, that's right. It was pretty funny.
Can't say that word anymore, Cam. That word's not acceptable in society anymore.
Right. In 2025, that word can't be said, so we might just start this intro again. But anyway, thank you to all 1,200 and almost 50 of you who have subscribed, follow the channel, all that kind of stuff. That's over on the YouTubes, of course, for those of you who like to listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other ones. Thanks for tuning in. Doing great numbers over there as well. Thanks for sharing it around your photographic community as well. We greatly appreciate it.
Are we more successful with audio like this? I think there's more people listen to audio.
That's hard to say. I probably can look up the stats, but as if I ever would.
Look, anyway. You've got a new platform to work with. Let's not overdo you.
No, that's exactly right. This is one step at a time. This is what this is.
Yes.
For those of you who are screaming at your computers or at your headphones, there is no photo comp until next month. So, sorry. Yeah, I know, right?
It takes us
a month to. That's what I was going to say. It takes us a month to come up with a theme. So if you have a theme,
I got a theme. I got a theme we can do.
Okay. But we can't roll it out now.
I won't write that. I'll roll it out next week. But I've got one. Yeah.
Okay. How's your week been? What have you been up to?
What's my week been? Well, I went to Melbourne on the weekend.
Melbourne, Australia.
Practically floated in on an iceberg. It was great. It was 38 degrees when we landed, and it was 20 degrees by the time the day had finished. And it was raining and stormy and sideways rain.
What a day that was! That was last Sunday, wasn't it?
It was Sunday. I went up to the OM day, so they had a sort of community day, touch and feel cameras, and had a few ambassadors there that they had talking. So that was held at Zinc at Fed Square, which is just down the river from where your bum was, sitting in a seat at the MCG. So I went up there and had a look, and the ambassadors were there. They were talking about some underwater photography and a bit of adventure photography, which is cool. But I must admit, everyone so many people are so funny in Melbourne. I forgot how funny people are. So when I got there, and it was 38 degrees, and then it started raining. Everyone's like, "G'day, Cam. Oh, thanks for bringing your Tassie weather with you." I'm like, really?
Yeah, I'm sure you only heard that once.
Yeah, it was sunny where I left. So it was. It reminded me heavily why living in Melbourne at the start of autumn is always that windy, wild, stupid weather. And that's exactly what it was. So they cancelled the little photo walk that they were going to do because of the weather. But it was okay. We had a great time. I reckon there was about 60 people there. All had a good time. Met a few people I'd never met before, but spoken to a bit. So that was my weekend. And then this week I've just been not doing much really. I've got a workshop coming up in a couple of days, so just taking it easy really. What about you?
Is that the workshop in the southwest that you're doing?
It is Southwest. Yeah, we fly out
Lovely.
on tomorrow after this comes out.
Fantastic.
We fly down there. We spend 2 nights and 3 days in the wild southwest of Tasmania. It's a beautiful little
Right.
workshop. It's one of my favorites, actually. It's a nice one close to home. It's not a really long one, but the scenery is just mind blowing. So
Yeah.
it is good. I'm taking the work experience kit on this one. So
Okay.
the
Nice.
new work experience kit for 2025 is attending this one. So Cheryl is flying down to see what it's all about. With the hope that maybe in the future she can run some of them on her own as a smaller workshop to start off with.
Will you be running this one in 2026?
2026. This one will be on the calendar, I think, for a fair time because it is really cool.
Can you
fly
put me
down
down for that one, please?
Oh, you'd like to come down, would you?
I'm in Southwest. I love it. I want to do it.
It is very cool. The flight down, you fly along the sea cliffs, beautiful, over Bruny Island, all that kind of stuff, and then on the way back, you fly out through the mountains. But yeah, Bathurst Harbour, it's about 7 times the size of Sydney Harbour, and it's quite a shallow harbour, so you just get these really glassy mornings and afternoons with all these mountains. It's almost New Zealand South Island, but obviously better because it's Tasmania. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm in for 2026. That sounds great.
Right.
Can't wait.
I'll let Cheryl know. I'll let Cheryl know that you're on the tour.
I've been busting my butt at Ocean Grove Camera and Photo all week because I'm flying solo this week. The lovely Rachel is away on holidays for a couple of weeks. So last week my daughter was home, so she stepped in for a few days to help me out. But this week I have been on my own, and let me tell you, mate, it has been tough. It's been busy.
Are you a bit like me? Like I had Daniel, and I obviously do workshops with you, and got Cheryl on board, and Jamie's to help me out. Do you find though that when you're on your own in your own workplace, it's a lot more like you might be busier, but I find I'm a lot more relaxed. Even though you don't need to manage other people as such, like you just sort of don't have to worry about other people. Yeah,
I think I know what you're saying. You don't have to delegate. You don't have to set up jobs. You don't have to feel like you have to keep them busy.
Yes.
So yeah, I suppose a little bit of that. I mean, all I do is get a greater appreciation for the amazing job that Rachel does, or any other staff member that's there when I'm there. Like, they really do pick up the slack, and it's. I tell you what, it's been a week of scanning. So I do a lot of photo scanning and photo restoration, particularly older images that come in, particularly little black and white square ones. I get loads of those now. Actual prints that we scan, and
little black and white ones. What do you mean by that? Like little
they're like
brownies.
Well, back in the day, some prints were tiny. Like,
oh, you mean scanning prints, not negs? Sorry,
prints. Yeah, two by 3 inch was a very common size. So I'm scanning a lot of that, like around the turn of the last century. So around early 1900s. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I love seeing the old photos.
Yeah.
Furthermore, I love seeing people's reaction when they see the results that we can get out of it, because the scanning technology now is incredible. We've got, obviously Photoshop to help us clean it up. I'm not afraid to use the odd AI tool as well to, improve a background that's completely cracked or what's that called when it gets all cracked? Anyway, there's a phrase for it.
Mosaiced.
Yeah. That sort of look. But I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I was going to say, sorry, with your little square prints, isn't it funny how back in the early 1900s, resolution was still the talk of the town, because those little small ones that you get are always pin sharp. Like they're so sharp. And then obviously because they're squashed down into a smaller thing, then obviously not the pixels, but the whole film that was used is a bit more compact. It seems to be a bit more sharper. So back then, it's like that Instagram. You can put an 80 megapixel shot on Instagram. It'll look the same as a 20 megapixel shot. So
that's right. Early Instagram.
Totally.
I love it though, because I go on a little time capsule trip, and you see there's photos. I'm scanning photos of people that have long passed. You get kind of nostalgic about it all, and you sort of reminisce about it all, even though you weren't there. It's weird, but
you see historic buildings and
Yeah.
Like stuff that, you know, you're probably around Geelong, you're like, oh, that's where the town hall is. That was on its own with cows in the paddock, and now it's got shops all around it or whatever.
One of the freakiest things that ever happened to me, I may have told this story before. I mean, we're 100 and nearly 60 episodes in, so if I'm recycling an old story, please stop me. But when I was at Camera House in Geelong, we were doing Super 8 transfers. So, the old reel-to-reel Super 8. And we used to convert it to DVD, which we now convert to USB. And this lady bought in this her Super 8, and she said, "Oh, be careful with this. My wedding." I said, "Oh, okay." And on the front of it said the 6th of January, 1973, the day I was born. So it was my birthday, and I said to her, I said, you, this is a piss take. Like, you know that's my birthday, right? And she's like, "No." And I got my license out to show her.
Where's the candid camera?
Yeah. And that was amazing. So I mean, Super 8 reels are only 3 minutes long. She had 3 reels. Her wedding video goes for 9 minutes. And
which is probably enough.
Of course it is. And this was in Geelong. It wasn't, I mean, I was born elsewhere, but looking at the cars, like I love seeing the old cars from that era. I think there used to be a tram in Geelong as well, but that's been ripped up and gone. But it was quite eerie to watch that video and know at that moment I was being born. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And then their wedding night, they might have created another child.
There's absolutely no need for that, Cameron, but I do appreciate it.
Maybe would they have used the 3 minute Super 8 in that session?
That's right. Certainly hope not. Photo of the week. I'm going first.
Hey, photo of the week. Why don't you go first? Sure,
okay,
you do it. Sure. I'm just happy to be back on 2 episodes in a row, to be honest.
I thought I'd.
Look at that! It does it.
I know. See, I don't have to edit anything anymore. It's just there. This is our. I mean, now avid viewers of the show and people who come to our one-day workshops will know this spot very, very well. This is the bluff at 13th Beach. I like going up here when I've got a bit of photographer's block, or when I just want to break the camera out and get back into it again. It's a great spot. It's 10 minutes, 15 minutes from my house. I can just cruise over there, and it doesn't really matter the weather either. In fact, probably the gnarlier the better. And on this particular day, it wasn't that great, but as the day got on, a bit of spray was coming off the ocean, a bit of mist was rolling in, so you're getting a little bit of separation in the distance there. But it's just a cool spot, and that bench down there is where you sat yourself not 2 months ago when we were doing the one-day workshops, and we were talking to people and
we had a discussion on that bench, didn't we?
I think things got quite deep and meaningful. Yes, it was great.
We did. We lost the customer, didn't we? And they were going home, and then they weren't going home, and then we were going home.
That's another story. But anyway,
is that morning or afternoon? That thing.
That's getting well into the afternoon, so you can see the shadows on the track there. So that's the sun. The sun's out to the left of that image.
Looks like a morning shot from there.
Yeah, I guess it does, but it's it's shot in late in the afternoon. So as I say, I love getting up to this place. It's great.
Yeah, and it's good. And what I enjoy, I actually really like the beach down below. There's some really cool rock formations and caves and things like that. Yeah. I took Sharon Thorogood and the Destroyers went for a walk down there, and I went and joined her. We got this really cool rippling sand around a rock, which looked really nice. And then we came up, and everyone was getting eaten by flies. It was good. Mozzies. No,
it is. Mozzies probably. Yeah,
Mozzie.
It's one of those places though where you get a really good view, sort of like a 180 degree view of the Southern Ocean. So great spot for Aurora Australis, of which there's a little bit starting to kick around again. So
I actually got some last night.
You did.
Yeah, so, it was pretty good.
So that was my photo of the week. And shall we put yours up, Cam?
Yeah, we can. I was actually just looking. I have a video file from this very moment as well, but I don't know where it is, so it's no point showing it.
I like this. This is cool.
Yeah, this was cool. I was up on the northwest coast of Tassie doing some work for the Circular Head Tourism Association. So going around doing some photos of accommodation and restaurants and activities that you can do up in this northwest corner. And this is called Cape Grim. It's right on it's the very top left-hand side corner of Tassie. It's where the freshest air in the world is, and some of the best steaks you can come from in the world, Cape Grim steak. It was a wildy kind of afternoon, and the wind was just howling. But I wanted to get up there. You can only get access with permission. There is a tour that goes through there, which is the Wool North Farm, which I'd highly recommend people go and do if you're up in that area. I was lucky. I had a PIN code for the gate to get up there and was able to get in. But I sat there and I was like waiting for this sunset to happen, and I could see this big dirty cloud rolling in from up your way. And I'm like, oh, that's just going to block everything. But it held off just long enough to get this golden light. And obviously you can see how windy it is with all the with all the grass moving around. But just a cool place. Had the place to myself. It was warm. It wasn't cold, which was nice. It was a mild sort of evening, so that made it a bit more bearable. But it was good fun. I'd like to go up there again and do some more stuff. And I'm going to try and see if we can get access for our Tarkon to Cradle workshop, which has 3 spots available still on it, which is running in sometime in August, I think it is. 15th to the 20th of August. We've got 3 places left. But if you come on that workshop, there's a fairly good chance you'll be able to get a shot like this.
We had a lot of fun there last year, didn't we?
Yes.
Around that area. Yeah. And in particular, we went up to a town just south of Cape Grim. Was it called? I think it's called Marawa. Is where we went to the pub.
Yeah, that is Marawa. Yeah, Marawa is very cool.
Yeah, great little. I mean, the pub there was fantastic, and
yes.
You know me, I'm a sucker for a country pub, but it almost felt like we were the only ones there, and yet we were so warmly welcomed. And
yes.
Yep, no worries. Order your meals. Everything was great. I think it was like on a Sunday night or something. So it was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Hey, how good are you with technology, Brendan? Is this going to work?
Yes, I can. Would you like me to put that video up?
Maybe there's a video. This is going to blow people's minds. The amount of technology we're bringing into this. People may fall off their couches.
Don't get too excited. I have never tried to bring a video up, so let's give it a go.
I don't know if it's going to be noisy.
Hang on, here it comes. Oh, there you go.
Look at that. So it was blowing a gale.
Hang on, I can bring the audio down. Look at me bringing audio down, Cameron.
Wow, Jesus. Oh, lovely. Yeah, so the kind of stuff you go through to get photos, folks. You see this kind of stuff, and but very cool. I don't know. Go for now. That I don't know.
Well, I'll take that off. But I'm going to put your photo back up because you've done something that I like to do as well, and that is leave the movement of the wind.
Yes.
There. It was there.
Yes. Well,
I understand why people like to remove it, but I like that you can actually see that movement in the grasses
100%.
there.
And it's funny that you say the wind, because I reckon that could be our next week's announcement for the monthly comp. Could be wind, but we won't announce it now. Yeah, have we?
We've done wind.
Have we?
We've had wind.
Oh, shit. Okay, I've had wind. Well, you can have multiple bits of wind. No, okay, well, stuff wind. We're not doing wind then. What about? No, we've done. Don't worry, we'll talk about it next week. Anyway, but yeah, I'm the same. I like having that movement especially in the grasses. It just shows that it's wild and woolly when you're up there. So, but yeah, lovely moment. And
would that have been a question without notice? Would this shot have been done with built-in ND, or were you using your own ND? Or?
It was built-in ND. Yes.
Because
I think this is about a 10-second exposure.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see the reason I asked, because you've got quite a lot of natural sunlight
on the beautiful OM3 from that company we don't mention too much.
OM3.
That was OM3. That was testing out the new camera, but it was good. The good thing is just over the edge of that is death, so you just don't go there. So
yeah, you don't want to be putting yourself in any precarious position. So pro tip, guys, keep away from the edge.
Well, no photo's worth the end of your life, I wouldn't think.
No,
unless it's an asteroid coming straight at the Earth. Might be a good shot.
We don't want that either. We're going to go straight into Dear Cam this week, because we've got a nice question here on Dear Cam. So allow me.
Sure.
For those of you who aren't familiar, Dear Cam is a segment where you can ask a question of the show. We've called it Dear Cam from the start, and we're not changing, so it's called Dear Cam. That's why it's called Dear Cam, all right?
All right, get over it.
Even though this person straight away says, Dear Cam and Brendan. Thank you. This is from Alison. Dear Cam and Brendan. Love the show and look forward to listening to you each week in the car. Well, there's no need to lie, Alison, but thank you. Yes, I am one of the people that only listens and not watches on YouTube. See, they're out there, Cam.
YouTube's.
I am going on a road trip in Western Australia up the Coral Coast and plan to spend a lot of time snorkeling. Lucky you, Alison. That sounds like fun. I'm thinking about getting a camera I can take in the water with me, and have been looking at the Olympus OM system TG7. This show is not sponsored. Anyway, just wondering what your thoughts are on the TG7, or do you have another camera I should look at? I have seen that you can buy a ring LED light that you can attach to the TG7 also. Will I get better results with the light underwater? I don't intend to swim too deep with the camera. Thanks heaps. Alison, I'm going to assume you're from WA, but I could be wrong now. I don't want to assume anything, but thank you for your question.
Assumption's the mother of all evil.
It is.
A great question. And no, this show is not sponsored by anyone of that name. So the TG7s, I've had a few customers bring that camera down the Franklin River for that splash and drop proof stuff. But the OM day that I did to, not to shout their name again, but the OM day I went to, there was a session about underwater photography, and everyone that was there who had done some snorkeling and stuff like that, they all swore by the TG series of cameras. They're great without spending thousands of dollars on housings and stuff like that to go snorkeling. They are a great little camera. Now, I've used one down the Franklin River to do a little bit of underwater stuff just at camp while we're sort of sitting around, and they are very cool. I have also seen the LED light which is attached to it, but I would suggest it's probably not going to be a major lighting source if you're going snorkeling. So I wouldn't think going under there at night time you're going to get much illumination from that LED light. But to get in close to those certain bits of coral and stuff like that, then it could be quite good. So I would say to Alison, unless you're willing to spend, a good $3,000 or $4,000 on a camera and housing system, this is the next best thing. I don't know if there's any other brands that do a good as job as the TG range, and that's not me saying that as a fan. That's just what the ratings generally say. But I'd say give it a go and see what happens. Oh, look at Jesus! Look at this show. This show has just jumped. You've just put up a picture of the TG7. My God, I'm feeling quite redundant now. Well, like, what's the point? What's this? You can just run this all on your own. Press your fancy little buttons.
Okay, Alison, I'm gonna let me tell you something, Alison. And Cameron, everything you just said was spot on. Exactly, I could not agree more. Okay, I have loved the TGs since they came out, since the TG1. This is obviously the 7th incarnation of it. There's some things that this camera does that no other camera does, and one of those things, as you alluded to, Alison, is macro. I don't think I've seen a better macro on a fixed lens system ever. It will focus down to 20 mil off the glass, 20 millimeters. So you can basically sit this camera over the top of a shell or some sand or a flower or an insect, whatever, and it will give you a very, very decent macro result. Basically what it is, it's kind of like a GoPro on steroids. GoPros are incredibly tough and rugged. Well, this thing is as well, as it says on the front there, shockproof, waterproof, an f2 lens, if you don't mind. Yeah. And 4K video. So it's a Swiss Army camera, this thing. I love it. I think it's
even the same color.
I think it's actually incredibly underrated, this camera. If I had to pick a downside, it is a weighty little beast for its size. It carries a fair bit of weight, but overall fantastic. And you're quite right. If you look around the edge of the lens there, you can see the little black grippy things. That's actually a little lens adapter. That thing comes off completely, and you can indeed clip on a couple of things. One you can clip on is the LED ring light if you want to do even more well-lit macro. But if you look at the top right next to the flash, that's a little LED light there as well, like you get on your phone, same sort of thing you get on your phone. Yeah. But also what you can do is you can actually put a zoom lens on this thing. So you can get an adapter that fits on, and you can put on their teleconverter lenses. So I think they've got a 2, a 1.5, and a 0.5. So if you want to go for ultra wide angle as well. So you can even get lenses for it. So it's very, very cool. One thing, word of warning, Alison, when you're in the water with this thing, make sure it is strapped to your body. Use the wrist strap. It don't float.
No, they don't.
And I know this from experience.
Yeah, they do sink pretty heavily. They also do, from memory, they do like GPS locations and stuff like that as well. Like it's got that built in, which is really cool. But I've never heard anyone say a bad word about these cameras. So even if it's your first time snorkeling and you don't want to spend, like I said, thousands of dollars, this is not a bad one to get into. They were talking about it at the OM day. It was quite a funny moment. Matt Horsball, who's one of the ambassadors, was talking about underwater housing, and he said, "Anyone got any questions?" And the lady put her hand up. She goes, "Oh, I'm really interested in getting an underwater housing and all this kind of stuff." So it went on for about 10 minutes, this conversation about underwater housings, how they're worth thousands of dollars, how you got to get gears for zooms and all this kind of stuff. And at the end, Matt's like, so, look, are you looking to go snorkeling? She goes, oh, no, I would never do that. And like, so why did you ask? It was just a question about how much it was all going to cost because she was thinking about doing it. And she said no. So it was quite funny. But yeah, I'd say go ahead and get one. And if you want, Alison, why don't you send us some footage or some photos of what you're taking, post it up on the Down South Facebook page, and we might share some.
Sub $700 for that thing too as well, which is pretty cool. I think DigiDirect at the moment are around $650 or something like that, which for me is a bargain for what you get out of that thing.
Even if she could find a TG6, like the TG6,
absolutely, TG5, nothing wrong.
I think they've had the same lens through the last couple of versions. I think I might be wrong.
I think you're I think you're pretty close there. I also just want to make reference to any camera that you can take underwater without a housing. Now, this is experience speaking here because I've worked in camera retail a long time, and I've seen a lot of cameras come in that have been flooded.
Yes.
Now, it's a very, very simple process to check the seals before you go in the water. It'll take you 30 seconds.
Just open the camera. They might bite you.
Yeah, watch out for the seals. You'll get a grain of sand, a human hair, anything like that across the seal is enough to flood your camera at pressure. Yeah. So just bear that in mind. Just getting in the habit, as I say, just checking those seals, making sure they're all good. The clever folk that make these cameras do put water detection strips inside the battery compartment. They will know if the camera's been flooded, if under a warranty sort of thing, flooded by misuse. So just bear that in mind. So
that was something that this Matt guy also said about when they did some pool stuff with the housing, like I said, a little bit of grit on those seals, and that can cause you a hell of a lot of inexpensive problems. So. But excellent question. Pretty jealous that she's going up to the Coral Coast and we're not.
Well, WA. I mean, there's a place that I think we'd all love to get to at some point. Wanted to have a bit of a chat. So along with yourself and me and a few other people this morning, we all tuned into the Camera Life podcast, and we had our friend Glenn Lavender on there.
Yes, he was definitely on there.
If you've got a spare 2.5 hours, you can. And that's not to say that it got boring or anything like that, or they rambled on or whatever. It was 2.5 hours of pretty solid content as far as I was concerned. Granted, I was in the shop and just had it on in the background, and I was sort of coming in and out of it. But for the most part, everything that they spoke about was great. We've had Glenn on the show a couple of times before. So if you caught Glenn Lavender here about 2 months ago, you probably don't need to go and watch the Camera Life one because it was very, very similar to our interview.
Is he rolling the same show? Is he? He's just rolling
through it's the same guy. He's not all of a sudden going to get on and say that he's a wedding photographer, is he? So he's going to talk about what he does best. So
is he telling the same stories across all of them? Is he?
Yeah, no, he is. That's exactly right. So, but it was a great example of how you can learn so much from listening to a podcast or a photo show like ours. So I guess I just wanted to pose the question to our viewers and listeners, and by all means comment below. Do you feel like you get enough out of what we do and out of podcasts in general? Personally, I do. I get, like, not out of our show, but when I watch other photographers' podcasts, I learn a bit out of this show as well. Mate, I learned heaps off you. Come on. A little bit. So people that I watch, including Photo Tripper, Heaton and our mate Nick Carver, and I mean, a lot of it it's infotainment, and there's a big entertainment side to it. But I always love, like, Ben Horn. Like, for some reason, every time I watch one of these things, I come away with inspiration or an idea, or I'm going to try that.
100%.
Yeah. So I love watching podcasts for that. So I guess I just wanted to pose a question: are we getting enough out of these things? And what do you reckon, Cam?
Look, I think you get out of it what you sort of want to get out of it in a way. You'd have someone suggested in one of the comments that they'd like to see more tips every week and more tips for photography, and that's all good and proper. But that's only just our opinion of a tip of what might work, and that's something I find that can be a little bit grey across the whole family of podcasts and shows that are about photography is that there's a lot of differing sort of ideas, and some are very similar as well, but it's a lot of very differing ideas about how to shoot things and, what settings to use and stuff like that. So I think you get out of it what you want to get out of it. I'd like to think that our show is more infotainment, where we're a little bit silly and have a bit of a laugh, but we talk about some pretty genuine issues with the photography world. And, we have that nice, lovely community we got going. There's other podcasts that are purely, let's just learn something, and that's all you're going to do. And so to get that mixture right is tricky, but I think definitely you can learn stuff. And is that a bird at your house or my house?
No, that's a plover. I've got some. Yeah.
They're protected. Out of all the birds in the world, are those birds protected? They are a shit bird. Full stop.
Because there's none of them.
No, good. There shouldn't be any of them.
Yeah, but there was.
No,
it doesn't have to be just because it's not a wedge-tail eagle. No, it's still endangered.
They spook kids at school. They make a stupid noise and they run in front of cars.
No, can I give you some context? You're talking about a normal gull-wing plover. The hooded plover, which is the one that's endangered. The hooded plover is the hooded plover is the one that's endangered in Australia. And the plover you just heard just now, they can get in the bin. That's fine. But the hooded plover, which is the small one that ridiculously nests on the high tide mark of the beach. I mean, get your shit together, bird.
Pick a better home. Anyway, where were we? Podcast. So see, we just taught you something there. That plovers are the worst bird in the bird species. But
that's right.
Look, I think podcasts are good and they're popular. But I think you listen to, for example, Tom and Matt's excellent podcast that comes out once every 3.5 years. I learned nothing off that because I turned it off in the first 20 seconds. But others, like the Camera Life, like I listened to Glenn today, it was fantastic. He inspired me to go out and do more portrait stuff and street photography, which is great. So I think once you find a podcast you like and you can relate to, then that generally will be beneficial for you. But shop around, see what you can find. So if you find one that we don't know about or we haven't mentioned, that's preferably Australian. That'd be good to have some more Australian ones. But it's interesting. It's a big world, the podcast world.
It is. And I think the thing that I really enjoy is watching podcasts from other countries as well. So in particular, well, Tom Heaton's great because he's normally around the UK and he does Iceland and those sort of parts of the world. And then you get Photo Tripper, who's in Nova Scotia now, but used to be on the west coast of Canada. And
Ben Horn and Nick Carver.
The scenery it's jaw dropping, and I suppose that's another point as well. Like they look at where we are with envy, and it's so funny how we take it for granted our own backyards. And we do live in a pretty remarkable part of the world for photography. And I see, but then you see Photo Tripper and he's in Iceberg Alley. It's like. You get to photograph icebergs. Like I would love it's on my bucket list to see an iceberg.
Do you prefer podcast or vlogging? Because they're sort of different.
They are. No, you're right. You're right. They are different. But from that normally stems like podcast. They'll have a podcast as well.
Yes. Yeah.
I love listening to Shutters Inc. Glenn's podcast. Glenn and Bruce.
Still going.
It's Australia's longest running podcast, photography podcast. It's one of those ones where I like to put it on, and again, like a lot of people do with this show, put it on when you're
trying to get
driving the car or you're walking the dog. I do it a lot when I'm walking the dog, and I don't know, and you just sort of almost subconsciously absorb the information. So
that's true. Like I do the same when I'm driving along. On my way to workshops or something like that, or going on a bit of an adventure, put a podcast on, and you're right, you take it in. I actually think I take podcasts in better than I take like video vlogging in. Like vlogging, I just go, oh wow, look at that pretty place, and that's
that's right. You get the eye candy, don't you? With the
where with what we do, we get the best of both worlds. You get the eye candy of us, and you get the information that comes through. Some would say dribbles through each week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just quickly, Sony are doing something odd. Do you know about this? So they put it.
I don't.
They put a little. They put a. I don't think I can share this. I won't because we're not sponsored by them. But apparently on the 26th of March, which is the week after this comes out, they're releasing something new, and the teaser says "Go small to shoot big."
Right, here we go.
Are they going micro 4/3, Cameron?
Go small, shooting big. I'd be very surprised if they did. Doesn't.
What is it?
The promo
is it
looks like it's
is it?
I don't know.
Is it?
Do we really care?
Is it
Sony? It's going to be aimed at the hipsters. Maybe it'll be like
it looks like micro 4/3.
It'll be aimed at the hipsters. It'll probably come out with a little skull cap on the top of its flash or something like that. It'll just be. It'll be in like psychedelic colors or something like that. I don't know. That's Sony.
Yeah, right. So they can.
I don't think they'll go. They would not go 4/3, surely.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so either. It would rock the world if they did, but
Go small, shoot big.
That would feel like a big step backwards for Sony.
Maybe
now
so maybe it's a compact camera with like a 14 to 2000mm lens.
Yeah. Now let's circle back. So we were talking before about the TG7, and I've had this conversation a lot in my shop of late with people that are just over taking photos with their phone. Over it.
Yes. Yep.
And for the simple reason that when they want to see those photos, they're back on their phone, and they're, it was actually quite refreshing today to hear an elderly lady say to me, "Oh, I'm so sick of waiting for such and such to show me the photos of a new grandchild," and she sits there and she flicks through 500 photos. I'm like, welcome to my world. It's
as she comes into the shop and flicks through 500 photos to print one.
My favorite is hang on, I'll just look for it. It's like, okay, I'll go do something else while you
I'll be back in an hour.
So it's interesting. So compact cameras are making a bit of a comeback, and this could be where Sony are going, which I would love to see. I know Panasonic re-released the TZ series. They now have the TZ110. The TZ99 was released about a month ago. It's hitting stores now. Amazing little camera. But point being, you actually take photos like we used to take photos, and you actually, you print them, or you actually download them and view them properly rather than having them on your phone.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where they come out. Was it the 26th of March? So that'll be a conversation for next week. I actually bought something today, which I think you might know what it is. It's right behind your head there on the bench.
Oh, you did too. Yes, you bought.
Yes, I bought a DJ Pocket 3. There you go. I bought one of those. It should arrive tomorrow.
Very good.
I saw the one you had on the 3 capes, and it's got the new flip screen, and I compared it with the Pocket 2 I had. I've now sold the Pocket 2. That's good. So I've got my money. So that's handy. But I'm going to start using it a bit more in workshops and things like that. But they do very cool panorama shots as well. I remember that.
They do, and you can stand it, and it'll just do the panorama for you. The other thing I love about that thing is tracking. So if you want to do work to camera, and you're on your own, you can just set it up on its little tripod, and you can talk to the camera, and it'll just keep your face in the middle of the frame, which is very cool.
I may have got I got convinced to buy it. So I had we did a bit of work today, organising all our flights and hire cars and stuff for workshops today. And Cheryl and I were talking, and I'm like, I wouldn't mind getting one of those. And she saw the video of it. And she's like, you got to get one. I'm like, all right, thanks. Yeah. Thanks very much. You're paying for it then. So I ordered one off our mates at Mark at DigiDirect. Thanks, Mark. Should hopefully arrive tomorrow. Yes. But
very good.
A bit more video on the workshops could be a bit of fun, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, next week, Cam, on the Mally workshop.
Oh, yeah, next week.
The end of next week, it is.
We're doing a podcast before that. We have to.
We will sneak out a podcast before we see each other. But I think it'd be cool if we we'll do a bit of video on that for your viewing pleasure here on the channel.
Yes. Hey, out of curiosity, why is our recording button going funny at the top there? Does that mean we're running out of time or something?
No, it still says it's recording to me, so hopefully the new platform's working. So,
do we have a limit on how long? Well, no, Glenn was on it for 5.5 hours, so it should be fine.
We're going to find out.
Do you have to buy a subscription to this or something, or if I just press the button?
No idea.
It's me. Sorry, I pressed something and it went purple. That's okay.
Right. Okay.
Oof.
Nice.
I'm like, geez, we have to wrap this up in like 5 seconds. But
Uh,
what was that thing that flashed below? What was that thing, the little ribbon that went across the bottom of the
well,
screen?
funny you
before?
should ask, because Cameron, beer donations for this week, please.
Is that what like the show? Why not head over to dsp.com.device? A beer. Your support is greatly appreciated. Okay, cool. That'll get the beer donations coming in.
Yes,
This week, only 2. We've had a bit of a low. Beer must be running out on the mainland. We're not getting many. I think it's only 2.
It's not running out in my fridge, so that's fine.
Oh, good. Sharon T, fan number 1, and Simon M. Now Simon M made some really cheeky comments on his little comment post the other day. He said maybe
nothing to do with
more,
me.
maybe more Buddy, less Cam. So I'm just going to tip that beer down the sink, Simon. See how you like that.
We haven't
thank you
seen
very
Buddy
much
for a little while. Buddy will make another appearance on the show at some point, probably through winter, because he likes coming in here in winter. So
if you want to see Buddy on the show, donate a slab of Pal, and we'll have him on that couch in no time.
Pal, because it's 1984.
Do they still make Pal? I'm sure they do.
Probably not. So you are off to the southwest tomorrow?
Yes. As of this, as this comes out, we're flying out Saturday morning. Hopefully back Monday afternoon. So we have 6 wonderful guests.
What do you mean? Hopefully.
Well, sometimes the weather can keep you down there. You can sometimes get stuck down there, which is terrible.
Great. So I actually just had a workshop on my own. Perfect.
Possibly. I just had one of my customers try to ring me while we're doing this podcast for some reason. I don't know why, because everyone's ready to go. Hopefully they're not pulling out. So, so yeah, we'll do that. Saturday, Sunday, back Monday. Should be good. The weather's looking nice as well. Can't wait. It's one of my favorite ones. That sort of kicking off the year a bit, and then I'll be up to see your big forehead next week. We should sponsor that.
Yeah, that'll be. I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. Now, a bit of exciting news is there's been plenty of rain up there. So, when I was at Lake Tyrrell 2 weeks ago, it was a gigantic grain of salt. Was all it really was. And now I've got my fingers crossed. And I'm not promising anything to anyone who's coming on this workshop, but
don't.
If we can get that wonderful 1 inch of water on Tyrrell, look out. We won't leave the shores. We will be there the whole day.
And what about Lake Touchy-Wop?
Hey, that's the last time you'll speak ill of Lake Touchy-Wop. I'm going to get a Lake Touchy-Wop t-shirt. And I heart Touchy-Wop.
Tell you what, we'll get there this year and it'll be absolutely mint. You watch, and I won't be able to hang shit on it anymore.
Well, if we go there.
So what are you doing this? What are you doing this week? Nothing. Just
business as usual. I've got again on my own till the weekend, and then next week, prepping for Murray Mallee, printing more photos. I've got a few canvases to do, and all that scanning to finish. So we'll get into that. That'll be fine.
Well, I have a neighbour over the road here who's a photographer. I won't mention any names, but he moved in a few months ago, and he was in the AIPP and all that kind of stuff as well. And unfortunately, he's had a bit of a turn for the worst health-wise, but he's scanning all. I spoke to him today. He's like, I've got all these bloody slides and negs and stuff like that and prints. Because I'm just going to scan the whole lot, digitize it, maybe make a few books and just throw it out. I'm like, what is such a shame, like all that work and then you're going to sort of throw it out. And he's got some beautiful like frame prints and that AIPP awarded prints and stuff like that. So
are you telling me that there's another photographer in your street in Hobart?
Right across the road. Yep.
That's insane.
Well, it's funny because my next door neighbor, Paul, he's a classic. He saw this new guy came in, and he's like the Mrs. Mangles of the neighborhood. Anyone new comes in, he's on it, you know. So he went and saw this new photographer guy that came in, and the guy's like, "Oh, I'm a professional photographer." He's like, "Can't be a professional photographer. You guys are going to be best buddies." And then every time this guy comes home or pulls up, Paul's always in his garden. It's like, your best mate's rocked up. Go have a chat about photos. So yes, we have 2 award-winning photographers in the same street.
That's amazing.
Lovely guy, and I wish him all the best with his health, and hopefully.
And for those of you of the right vintage, you'll also know if we say Mrs. Mangle, we also know. Does anyone know who Mrs. Jessup is?
I know it is, but I don't know where it's from.
Good. No, I do, and comment below if you know who Mrs. Jessup is. But anyway,
is that the one out of that English thing with the old lady?
Not telling.
I think it is. I think it is that one. So anyway, yeah, it's interesting. So he has all these slides and prints and negs that he's going to just scan and then probably turf, which is a bit of a shame.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it means he's kept the hard work. It's just the medium that he did it on.
Yes.
Going
well, I think also he's decided he's going to retire from it all, obviously, and I think he's trying to make a bit of room. They've got this nice house over there. He showed me under his house.
Might inherit some nice cameras, Cam.
Well, he said no. He said I didn't ask, but he said something today. He goes, "I'm not getting rid of my R5s. They're staying." I wouldn't get rid of them. I wouldn't get rid of them either. But under his house, he had all these beautiful boxes all lined up of all prints and frames, stuff like that. So I might have a chat to him and see if we can try and sell some for him or stuff
Get him
like
on the
that.
show.
Yeah, well, maybe he's got some great stuff. He's a great photographer, lovely guy. So it'd be nice to sort of see if we can move some stuff on for him. But yeah, it was just funny. I had to go help him move a table today, and then I realised I can't because I've got hernias and all that doing heavy lifting.
Yes.
So I just watched other people do it. It was great. So just between you and I, I'm going to have these hernias for like the next 10 years. I'm not getting rid of them.
Yeah, no, that's right. If you ever want to not have to lift anything, they're a good idea. Okay, I think we're all done.
The new solution for is more golf
and more beer.
Are we done?
I think that is it. That's the podcast
on the new platform. Has it recorded? We don't know.
We don't know. We're going to find out. If you've enjoyed the new platform, if you wanted to see anything else going on this channel, as I say, hit us up below. We'll have the photo comp ready for you next week. So sharpen your lenses for that one if you like.
Or just dust them off.
That's right.
Enjoy
the Southwest.
Thank you. Does this look the same on the YouTube? Will it have all the links and stuff underneath? And
everything you see on the screen will be right there. So
will the new jingle be on it?
And that's coming.
Cool.
We're going to roll out.
Remember when we first started this show and we had a jingle and like that? That was at least 70 episodes before the jingle came in.
Was it?
Yeah, it was pretty. It took a long time to get the jingle. Anyway, all right. Have a good weekend, everyone.
This has been episode 157 of the Down South Photo Show. We will see you for episode 158 next time. Say goodbye, Cameron.
Bye, Cameron.
Bye.